Hi guys, you're going to love this interview coming up with Paul Knight. Paul Knight was a resident of Broadmoor for over 10 years. He spent his time in there with the Ripper, with terrorists, with rapists and murderers, but he survived to tell the tale. And he's got a book coming out very, very soon. So here he is, Paul Knight.
We've got Paul Knight here today, who's been a very good friend to Dave for the last 11 years, I think.
Yeah,
so,
12 years.
And
How did they meet up then? How did you meet up?
Dave was having a bare knuckle boxing match down the end of the garden in the club with James McCrory and an American.
Jason Young.
Jason Young,
he's
that's
passed
it,
away
yeah.
now, yeah.
Yeah, he's passed away, yeah.
You had a couple of bare knuckle fights
Yeah,
with the BKB.
I had a few
didn't you?
bare knuckle fights for BKB, yeah.
Yeah, how did you get on with all of that?
Yeah, I had 4 fights, I lost 3 and I won 1.
Yeah.
Trained at Peacock's gym.
Right.
With the Bauer brothers. And just normal general boxing, and I kept my diet professional.
But like you do now.
Yeah.
Does the same trainer as you, isn't it?
He was sponsored by Greggs at the time.
Yeah, sponsored by Greggs, that's it.
What's it like though, getting in a bare knuckle ring? I mean, it must be.
To start with, yeah, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
How did you actually feel when you got in there, Paul? Was you hyped up for it, or did
Yeah,
you want to do it?
I was hyped up for it. It wasn't a case of sort of like I was eager. I was too eager.
Right.
And I think that's probably what lost me that fight. I was too eager. On a lot of them, I was in there and I was too tense. Too tensed up. I weren't letting it flow properly, you know.
Yeah.
And I found myself. I got a crack on the jaw. Obviously, I'm.
It's not going well when that happens. Is it?
Nah, it don't go well. No. But you know, it's not the first crack on the jaw I've ever taken in my life. So I was quite, you know, it didn't shock me.
No.
And the pain threshold, I would say, because of my mental health issues, my pain threshold can be a bit more higher than other people's. I'm not saying I'm a hard man or anything like that. I'm just saying that I can tolerate pain a bit more.
Take a smack in the mouth.
I can take a smack in the mouth.
Yeah. So did you have a bit of a past then?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a past. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brendan, you were telling me that Paul was in Broadmoor, which is a bit of a big deal.
Listen,
isn't it,
Paul doesn't realise it, but he is a very funny, entertaining man, and he went into Broadmoor, I believe, for 3 days, and ended up staying there.
Into a
low security, and
for a 3-day respite.
and stayed there for 10 years. He liked it so much. Yeah. He worked his way right up the ranks to top security.
Oh yeah, high security.
Well, we have to ask, how did you end up in Broadmoor?
I went into a low secure. Like, I've had mental health issues all my life, and I've had a mental health team in various places around the country. And this particular time, I was living in Taunton in Somerset, and I hit the doctor quite a few times, stamped on his head a few times, as you do.
Any reason for hitting the doctor, Paul?
I can't
misdiagnosed you, did he?
No, he didn't misdiagnose me. I can't remember what that was about, actually.
But the fucking doctor.
No, funny enough, though. The claim to fame bit, though, is this doctor used to be a doctor in Broadmoor.
Oh,
and he used to be Ron Kray's doctor.
Okay.
And he used to give him Stematol, they called it, but it was called Stelazine. And I was given that as well by the same doctor. I ended up attacking the doctor and was put into the seclusion room, you know, like where they lock you in and all that. Like bend you up, lock you in, inject your ass. Yeah, with tranquilizers.
Liquid Cosh, really,
Liquid Cosh, yeah. And
what's that like?
Sedative, like it's a sedative. So just you like it 3 days.
Really? God.
And then they give you another one on the 3rd day. I've also had what they call a rapid trank, which acts instantaneously. That was when I was in Broadmoor. I'd done most of my time on high dependency ward, Friendly Henley. It was called Henley ward, but we all called it Friendly Henley.
Do you have a lot of nice mates in Broadmoor, or
Yeah, I made some mates. I did make friends in there, and I would. It's sort of like what you read in the paper, like in the News of the World and all that all the time. That you used to get stories every week. They'd be churning out some crap.
Bollocks, yeah.
Like Pete Sutcliffe was eating steak and chips at one of the party nights. You know, obviously I've met him like more than a few occasions. He wasn't on my ward, but I used to sit next to me in the visiting hall because he had a higher table because he had a bad back.
Right. And
some of the people that visited him, you'd think how? Like they were really nice, beautiful women.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bizarre is a word, isn't it?
Yeah. And so they were still attracted to him.
They were attracted to him. Every time I was on my visit, you can have a visit every day of the week, 5 to 6 days a week. And every time I'm in there, I always used to pick the same seat all the time, and then all of a sudden he's there. And I used to see him all the time in the medical facility, in the medical unit, like where the GP and the dentist. And
did you ever beat any of them doctors up, Paul?
The GPs and all that?
Yeah.
No, I got on alright with the GP.
Oh, glad for them.
Yeah.
So what did you ever sort of sit down with Sutcliffe and what would you talk about?
Yeah, I spoke to him on a few occasions.
Yeah.
Not about just general chit chat. There weren't nothing sort of like, why did you murder all them women?
Yeah.
There weren't nothing like that.
No.
He was just an old man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. He was
Did he have like the white hair and all that?
Yeah. He had a scruffy beard.
Yeah.
Weren't even kept. Didn't even keep himself clean, and big belly.
Yeah.
Dirty old shirt he'd wear on his visit, and you'd think to yourself, your visitor is a nice model-looking woman, and you can't even tidy yourself up.
That is bizarre. Did you get visited by model types in the?
No, I didn't. Mine was, but my uncle used to visit me on a regular basis and send me in money.
Who was the one with the sandals when they all had the Jesus sandals?
I met Jesus,
Oh,
three of them, all on the same wall.
Yeah.
There's 3 Jesuses on the same wall,
Did they look like Jesus or?
Well, they had longish hair.
Yeah.
They all tried to have the same sort of like iconic figure of him, so a long, like old shirt, sandals, but the sandals though were all the same look because they were all from Broadmoor. They were all Broadmoor sandals, from the hospital issue. There weren't no difference. But one day I was. This is a bit later on, about 5, 6 years later, of me being in there, and I was on a rehabilitation ward where you've got normal cutlery, proper like metal knife and forks. On the high dependency, everything's plastic, plastic plates, plastic cups. One day I'm walking through the corridor of the old Victorian buildings on Somerset House, and I was on Taunton ward at the time, and I was walking through with a cup of tea, just because you've got an urn in there, you can have tea whenever you want. Like Henley ward, you had certain times of the day you was allowed to have tea. You had no access to hot water when you liked. It was like high security, And so I'm walking through, and I hear this sort of like these three of them all standing there, all like bobbing their heads, and you think, it's them three again. Jesus, isn't it? And that's what goes through your head. But when you see them when you see them once, you think, who the fuck's that? Who are these nutcases? I know, you expect it, wouldn't you, from Broadmoor, you expect it to be nutcases. But these three were different, they were funny.
Yeah.
You know, and they're standing there arguing with each other about who had the best looking sandals.
Were they arguing about who was the real Jesus?
They weren't arguing about who's the real Jesus.
No.
Ah. Two of them had they used to have these big Bibles, like leather-bound Bibles, like probably cost about £100 from the bookshop, like because you used to be able to like catalogues, things like that. They probably had their own like Bible bookshop that you could get sent in. About 100 like leather-bound Bibles, holding them, and then shouting and screaming at each other, who's got the best sandals, and they're all going, all pointing at their toes and pointing at his and pointing at his. And they're waving their hair all over the place. And you could tell they're proper really getting angry about it, Liam.
Who had the best sandals?
Well, as I walked past, I said, "His are better than yours. No problem. His definitely were better than yours."
And they're all Broadmoor
And
sandals.
they're all Broadmoor sandals, all Broadmoor issues, so they're all the same kind. There ain't no difference.
Yeah.
Not even the
But
colour.
you decided
They're still, I said, yeah, these are better.
got nicer
These are the
feet,
best
yeah.
ones. As I was walking up, I clicked on to what they were actually mumbling about and what they were arguing about, and I thought, fucking hell. Yeah. So I just thought I'd have my little 2 pennies worth and say, yeah, he's the best. He's the ones, definitely. And carried on walking back to my room, and then I overheard them stop like that, and then that was it. They were all, quickly, they all just dispersed.
So you arrived in Broadmoor, but you sort of graduated up, became more violent, or what happened?
Yeah, so I went to a low secure. Like, that's a normal hospital. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, anybody can get into a section 3 into a low secure, like, and
I said nobody can get in there, innit?
but there's not many people that get into Broadmoor without committing a crime.
Right, so you didn't actually commit a
I
crime?
committed no crime, no.
So this was just a mental issue for you?
It was a mental issue, yeah.
Yeah.
And I become too unmanageable in low security, and so they sent me all the way up to York, and like I was first of all I was sent to prison for 6 weeks for the assault on the doctor and on other staff. I was taken out of there by Riot Police. They bring in the police for that time. Because that's happened on more than one occasion, but that was just the general normal police. And I remember I'm looking through a little gap in the door, and got this copper standing there, and lady, he said, "Shall we get kitted up then, Gov?" And I shouted out, "Yeah, stockings and suspenders would be nice." And that didn't go down too well with them. And then they come in, they crash through the door with their shields, all like full riot gear, pin me to the bed, jab me in the arse with liquid Cosh again, well, what we call it, what people know as liquid Cosh. Jabbed me in the arse, and went clear, and that was it, all out the room again. And then I noticed the effects about 10 minutes later, and then within half an hour I'm sleeping. Got taken out of there by the police with the shields into the police station. They rented out a police cell for me, so police weren't able to intervene or anything, and the staff were there giving me medication all the time. And in the end I ended up refusing that, and they said, "Right, you're going to court." So I said, "Right, well, you got me in this cell, now you get me out." And so they looked at each other and they just didn't know what.
Were you going to squat in it, or?
No, I was going to have another ruck with
Oh,
them.
right.
Yeah. I said, you got me in here with all them police.
Yeah.
Like the riot police. Now you get me out. And I was going to be up in court that morning. So what happened was one of the sergeants come to the hatch in the police cells. Said, "Look, Paul, we're coming in either way, and you're going to court. Whether you come there like of your own accord, or
you're going anyway.
You're going to court. So I started marching up and down. I'm thinking, what should I do? Should I just have it with them, or? And I thought, well, it could look pretty bad if I end up having a ruck with them before I go into court. Yeah. There's a chance that I could get a year even, make for 88, make it even worse for myself, and the judge would be pissed that you know, that I'm using up like resources and whatnot. So I said, all right then. So they double cuff me, like they cuff you normally, and then they another set of cuffs from you to the officer. So that's called double cuffed.
Right.
I've always been like that everywhere I've been, double cuffed, and 4 staff, either 4 staff or 4 screws. So I got taken to court, and I went to prison for what was it, about 6 weeks or something for the assault on the police on the doctor. Yeah, thank you, on the doctor, and I was put onto the hospital wing on a 3-man unlock, which means that you need 3 screws to come and unlock your cell. And so every time the meal time, they'd have to, what they call a team. They'd have to ring through, like radio through for a team to come down to get me out of the cell so I could walk, say 20 metres up one end of the corridor and pick up my food.
She was like a VIP in there, Paul, wasn't you? Really?
I was VIP,
but you seem like such a nice bloke. Do you know what
I
I mean?
am a nice bloke,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then you've got these 3 people to open the door and all that.
They'd never see anything but good in you.
Yeah.
They've actually loved them, never see anything but good.
Never see the bad side.
I thought you was very entertaining, Paul, very funny.
So you kind of graduated up. Well, why did you kick off when you were in there? What was the reason? Was it just a mental
frustration?
Yeah.
More frustration than anything. And when I got to Broadmoor, I went in February. I went into low secure February 2002. By November 2002, I'd gone from low secure in Taunton, medium security in York, the police Exeter prison for 6 weeks, and then to Broadmoor. They said to me, "You're unmanageable here. We're sending you to Broadmoor, high security." So I went low secure, medium secure, and high secure. And so all in less than a year.
So how is your day in Broadmoor? What do they do to you? Do you get up and...
To start with, I was on the induction, what they call admissions ward, where they work out whether you're staying or not. So you're there for 3 months assessment. And it's very rarely that you get people that will say, no, well, you're fine to leave, or you're fine to go back to medium security. It's never ever happened that you'll be fine to leave here and go out into the community. Yeah. But you might be downgraded back to medium security.
Yes.
Yeah, there was 2 terrorists while I was on the admissions ward to do with Al Qaeda, and one of them was being held. He wasn't mentally ill, but he was held in hospital because he had leukemia. But he was held in high security Broadmoor because he was a terrorist, not because he was mental. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he was in this, like he was being on the charge of bombing being one of them that bombed the US embassy in Egypt. He was Egyptian, this geezer, one of them, and I spoke to him for a few times, and he just come across as nice, relaxed, calm. He kept on reading his Quran all the time, you know what I mean? But there weren't nothing that would say that man's a terrorist. There weren't nothing like that about him. There weren't no, like the other one, he was a lunatic. He'd run around shouting and screaming about this, that and the other, and fucking just shouting, screaming, they're all gonna kill us, they're all gonna do this, they're all gonna do that. But he was from the Finchley Park Mosque.
Did you find that the people in there, were they generally mad?
There was some that was mad.
Or were they just walking around perfectly normally?
Obviously, you got to understand, we're being high security, so, and on the admissions ward, you could watch 10 o'clock news and you'll be sitting next to the man that's on the news, who's been to court that day. That's happened quite a few times. And he'll be sitting there, he'll be lapping it up. Look, there's me there, look. Like, we're talking like the 10 o'clock news here, like for, you know, ITN or whatever they called it back then, I can't remember. And that's happened quite a few times where they're not considering what they've done, they're just sort of like lapping up that they're on the telly on the 10 o'clock news. And you're just sitting, but it doesn't never enter my head that I'm sitting here next to the geezer who's going to chop that man up, who's appearing on the news now, who's just got sentenced to like 3741 Home Office restriction order.
Did you ever worry about your safety then?
Never. Never. Some nights on the high dependency, as I say, I've done so long on there, on the same ward, like I would say between 6 and 7 years I've done on high dependency. So they changed certain setup of it. Like first of all, when I first went on there, I went on to high dependency because I got into a fight on the admissions ward and ended up knocking out this geezer. I headbutted him once and he fell to the floor and then banged his head again while he was down and knocked him out. And he had to go into hospital and then on the hospital wing for concussion. And that's, what was that? That was over something stupid. But it was more, I think that was more to do with me wanting to prove a point. Like, because it was, I've never...
He weren't wearing the wrong sandals, was he, Paul?
No, he wasn't wearing the wrong sandals. No. But this geezer, I think that maybe sort of like, there was something that maybe it was in me that I needed to prove to these people that even though they're walking around and they're all normal, but they're not normal. Because most of them were killers, murderers. Most of them hadn't just murdered one person, they murdered, say, two, or maybe chopped them up. A friend of mine was on the news. He'd become a good friend, and later on, over the years, like obviously I found out his story, what he'd done.
He chopped up somebody.
He chopped his mate up. Yeah, he had a...
not a good mate to join up.
Nah,
really.
well, they got drunk and doing drugs, getting drunk, and he hit him over the head with a hammer. I think that was... He said it was accidental that he killed him. He didn't mean to kill him, but
yeah.
I think they were having an argument and there was a hammer just lying on the side and he just bang. But he'd killed him outright. And I think he said that he just panicked. But where he was drugged up, high as a kite on Christ knows what, on the coke and all that. And that's when he decided that he needs to get rid of the body. How do I get rid of a body who's something like 5'10" or whatever, tall, weighs 15 stone? How do I get rid of? There's one of me. And then he got it in his head that he's going to chop him up.
Be easier to move.
Yeah.
He chopped him up.
Yeah. So
I've seen the logic in
so he
it.
got a hacksaw and chopped his arms, chopped his legs, his body. I did say to him, like, what is it? He said to me that it stinks as shit. Like the inside of his stomach, like the intestines and all that.
Yeah,
He said
because it's food that's digesting,
actually stinks.
Yeah.
Stinks of shit. You know?
That's one of the downsides to it, I suppose, yeah.
But yeah, no, this conversation is taking a bad downward turn, isn't it?
It's interesting stuff.
But yeah, so that was it. But it was a good, like we used to play snooker and we had full-size snooker tables on a couple of the wards. One of the walls was Henley Ward, high dependency, even though it was high dependency, we still had a full-size snooker table with like proper balls and cues.
He weren't allowed to have a hammer in there, though, was he?
No, he weren't allowed to have a hammer, no.
Weren't in the old carpenter's workshop.
But he ended up getting a 3741. The home, as I say, what that is a home office restriction order, just like basically a life sentence, but without without any time limit. He'll only come out when the Home Office agree that he's stable enough to come out. Like, there's a lot going on at the moment about another man that's gone there recently to Broadmoor who killed 2 people in Nottingham. I don't know if you've heard about that one, Liam.
I don't know.
Recently, that is.
Yes, that's
He killed 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
and there's a bit of an uproar about him getting a light sentence, going to hospital rather than going to prison.
Yeah.
But what people don't realise, or I don't think they realise, it hasn't been told to them, is that he could be in there for life.
Yes.
Like his whole natural life.
Yeah.
It's only when the Home Office think that he's better, not doctors, not your normal everyday forensic, even the forensic psychiatrist. Because in Broadmoor, that's where the top consultants are. Like, it's not meant, like when people see a doctor out here, a psychiatrist out here, you know, there's a lot of them. But to get into Broadmoor, that's a different grade.
So is that a clever way of keeping you locked up then, putting you in under that thing?
A 3741, is basically you're deemed too unwell to go to prison,
but you're definitely too unwell to be out on the street.
and danger to, got to remember, the danger to the public.
Yeah. So once they get that over you, they can just lock you up indefinitely.
Yeah, indefinitely.
Yeah.
And you're still on the 37. You're still on the Home Office restriction order, even if they let you out into a medium security. You're always on that until they, like a life sentence. You're still on parole. I mean, you're still on licence
until
Yeah. So even if someone did, there are people that do come out on 3741. The Home Office order. People are walking about our streets now that are on these sections that are probably murdered and they're probably raped. And they've done all, but they've apparently in the Home Office's eyes, these people have done their treatment
and come out successful
and they've come out rehabilitated enough for them to be out in the community.
So do you ever sit down and discuss with the other inmates what they've done, or is that a taboo subject?
No, it's not taboo. No.
So you can.
It's whether or not they want to tell you. And there's someone there that I've Googled afterwards, thinking, I wonder what they were in for. You Google it and you'd be surprised, and you think, fucking hell. If I'd have known that, I would have fucking hurt him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're friends with someone, and you're not. They're telling you, I'm in for armed robbery.
Yeah.
Or like, just burglary that went wrong, and I killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. When really, what it is that they're in for a multiple rape or something.
Yeah.
Like one of them that I was in there with, I won't go right into detail about him because it winds me up. That I used to go to the gym with a man. And it was only when I knew he was high profile, don't get me wrong, like I knew through other people that he's high profile. There's more than just one high profile person I've been around. But this particular one I used to go to the gym with all the time, and he seemed okay.
Yeah.
And when I came out here, when I started writing my book, I haven't quite finished yet.
But you will.
But I will, I will get around to that one.
Yeah.
And it was only, I thought I'd do a bit of research, try and think up the names of who I've been around, because obviously time's gone on.
Yes.
And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to remember certain things, especially people's names. I could have been around them for like 4 years. And it turns out, that he was a rapist.
Right.
And I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't know now, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even give him any time of day at all.